After a gap of 3 years, the world's longest youth cycling event is back. The Junior Tour of Ireland around the roads of Clare, based out of Ennis. The 2019 competition won by Nicolas Ribard of Canada. Who will be his successor?
Welcome to the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. I'm with Martin O'Loughlin. Martin, a lot of international teams here from South Africa, USA, Britain, Netherlands and France, but the Irish team, they're also for success this year.
Absolutely, we always come to this race to win it. It's fantastic to have the Junior Tour back after a 3-year absence, and we're going all out to get the yellow jersey on Sunday.
The opening test, a 48km stage from Ennis to Barefield, touching the border with County Galway. Welcome along to our coverage of the 2022 Junior Tour of Ireland as we see the riders warming up. The BRE team from South Africa featuring Joshua Lutman and Braden Bloch, as well as the Hincapie team who travelled over again from the USA. 94 riders starting this year's tour from across Europe, United States and South Africa. As the neutralised flag is hoisted, the riders are rolling out through the streets of Ennis. And immediately an early attack from Conal Scully of Team Ireland, Martin O'Loughlin. Of course, we talked in advance of the start today. Conal Scully first out of the blocks. Creates a 30 to 40 metre gap. He's straight away onto the big ring. Small ring at the back, and he's looking right over his shoulder. Very, very quickly he's reeled in, and we see the all too familiar colours of Hincapie Racing there at the head of affairs. Rider positions 3, and certainly another rider in the top 10. This time it's Jonas Walton of Hot Tubes is off the front. And you can see by his build, prominent track rider on the Hincapie frames themselves. Right at the peak of the saddle, and all of that power, he's having to push himself back into the saddle again. But all of that power in the legs comes to nothing as that brake, once again, is reeled in. Looks like it's one of the Orwell Wheelers riders off the front of the bunch. The rest of the bunch spread right across the road at this stage. You can see the motor marshals moving on ahead of the race, as we see the rolling road closures here throughout the roads of Clare as the Junior Tour of Ireland passes through the roundabout. What fantastic shots we have this year of that full field of 94 riders. Again, Hincapie Racing right at the head, 2 riders here. Bit of indecision as they look over their shoulder here, coming through the village of Crusheen. And just with that slight gap and about a 5 to 10 metre gap or so looking over their left shoulders respectively, we've got Graham Weaver and Ben Stokes decide to combine their power. All of a sudden it's 10 or 15 metres off the front of the bunch here, and there's a reaction swift from behind. Riders not looking to give Hot Tubes too much at this very, very early stage of the race. And with that brake neutralised, once more, we've another Hot Tubes rider attacking off the front. This must have been the plan with the Director Sportif from the early hours of this morning here. This time, it's Andrew August of Hot Tubes, known to his teammates as AJ. Very, very quickly, he has established a gap of 100 metres or so. It is neutralised behind, and that may mean that the Hot Tubes riders are at the head behind. Again, a much slighter rider than his teammates we saw earlier on, Weaver and Stokes. And look at the gear that he's spinning here. Beautiful, fluent motion here. Hands resting on top of the hoods. Just checking his speed every now and again. No great reaction, but one of the riders trying to get the riders working together again. And AJ, Andrew August, will have been told already what the time gap is behind. It was over 30 seconds at one stage. The attempts to join from the peloton behind, led by Ben Gonzalez of Team Zwift. Previous leader for Hot Tubes, Ben Stokes, policing Gonzalez up at the front. And again, Conal Scully of Team Ireland attacking off the front, policed once again by one of the Hot Tubes riders. And at this stage, it's Oisin Ferretti as we see a crash right at the head of affairs here. The riders not looking to react, but certainly there will be commotion behind, because the riders will be checking to see. Remember, they do not have any race radios, but they will be wondering, have they got teammates down behind? Are the team captains injured? And right at the head of affairs here we can see Oisin Ferretti of Ireland, Oliver Neely of Team Zwift, Matty Dada of the Backstep Racing team. And as the riders sweep through a roundabout before, the approach in towards the finish here. The speed is certainly up, and Andrew August of Hot Tubes, the marshals, slowing down the traffic, but the gap now suddenly closed to about 50 metres or so. August still perseveres out the front. One of the VC Laundry riders looking to come across to him is Matthew Gilmore. Gilmore gets across, goes out on his own, but right at the head of affairs here. The field being well controlled. They'll be marshalling for a sprint finish. And once again, Matthew Gilmore looking to eke out a gap if he can. But all of a sudden, the field are on top of him now. And Hot Tubes will certainly be looking to set it up for a sprint finish. And we can see Barefield at the finish here. Crowds gathering, waiting for any ounce of information they can get. And the sprint is commencing here into the finishing straight. 200 metres to go. And there's another significant crash on the left-hand side. Plenty of riders down. The sprint won by Tom Patterson of Hallstown Academy Mapai. Second, Alejandro Che. Third, Braden Bloch. And fourth, Wout Jur of Tempo Hoppenbrouwers, the Netherlands team. But we can see riders down here, and there's a couple of Irish riders look to be injured. Ben Stokes from Hot Tubes is down. Julian Roux of the Hincapie team. And number 76 there, Archie Fletcher of Innovation Racing, the national chap. Oisin Ferrady of Ireland. And also to Quillan Donnelly of Ireland. Well, let's hope that none of the riders are too badly injured. Great drone footage here of the sprint finish, where you can see Tom Patterson take that excellent win right at the last moment. And the crash about 200 metres or so, maybe not even. The walking wounded as they make their way in towards the finish. That's Julian Roux of Hincapie team, and number 1, Quillan Donnelly of the Irish team.
Tom Pattinson from Halesound.
I haven't been in this position before. I mean, it's a weird stage yesterday, and it's not like I've raced anything like that before. So I don't know what to expect, really.
So you avoided the 2 crashes last night, which was probably the main thing.
Oh yeah, to keep riding is the best thing, really.
And just describe the last 10 seconds of that race.
Chaos. I was one side of the road 1 second, and the next I was finishing the other side because of the crashes.
And you didn't know you'd won, did you?
It was close. I didn't know, really, no.
So stage 1 going to Tom Patterson of Halesound Academy Mapai, ahead of the American from Velosport Alejandro Che in second, and Braden Bloch third. After time bonuses, Patterson leads most of the field by 10 seconds, Che given a 6-second time bonus, and Bloch 4 ahead of the rest. Stage 2 over 103 kilometres, taking in the world famous cliffs of Moher, beginning and ending in Ennis.
So stage 2, we can see the riders rolling out. Race organiser there, Alice Chirac. It's under neutral flag here at the moment, and the first attack of the day is coming from Rory Byrne of Pinergy Orwell, the Dublin club, as he attacks off the front of the field here. Again, you can see the riders pushing big gears here. Neutralised for a small moment, and an attack here from Alexander Foster of Innovation Racing. You can see Hot Tubes marshalling the front of the field here. Let's see what else comes of this, because I do expect many of the teams have plans for today. Photographers taking their pictures early in the stage. Remember, we've got Rory Byrne of Pinergy Orwell up the road at this stage. Alexander Foster trying to get across to him. We've a group of making out to be 4 riders at this stage here. We can see Conal Scully of the Irish team in there. Jonas Walton of Hot Tubes at the back of that group. Also Matthew Gilmore. We saw him up in stage 1 yesterday when he joined Andrew August towards the end of the stage. Lucas Jowett of Backstead racing up there again. So 5 riders, a quintet of riders here at the head of the field here. Stage 2 Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. And as the riders approach Aina, you can see Scully putting the power down as he comes through here. The VC Londra rider of Gilmore, a powerhouse, while the good house Ina awaits the riders. Courtesy of the traffic corps here on Garda Síochána corner. The 5 riders a little bit hesitant, looking at one another here as they sweep left. The latest information to the riders is that they have a gap of 1 minute or so. Gilmore at the head of affairs here. And the Hot Tubes rider is Jonas Walton. The riders being marshalled here as they sweep left. Remember, 1 minute down for the riders at this stage here. And we started this morning without a number of riders who were injured at the end of yesterday. The Irish team, remember, losing Donnelly and also Ferretti. As a result of that crash, 150 metres to go. Rider 75 coming through here is another one of the riders here looking to push on the pace, and this constant push here. They've actually lost one of the riders here at this stage. And Alexander Foster confirmed as the rider that has dropped back, and now 2 more riders looking to come across. Angus Stoneham of Lee Valley Youth Club, and also rider 32 here in picture, Joshua Ludman of the South African BRE team. The riders are going to have to work up and over and work really, really well together if to make that gap ahead. And we can see further attacks here. Looks as if it's another one of the Orwell Pinergy riders looking to put the pressure down as they go uphill. But the peloton, they're certainly not allowing anything get away at this stage. Looking to neutralise any attacks, and perhaps happy for those riders out front to persevere for a while as they pass Clunaha National School on the left hand side for the riders. You can see the wind will have an effect. It's coming in from the head on for the riders here, so it's a cross headwind, and that way you can see the riders here, 6 riders at this stage working up and over. Scully appears to have been dropped at this stage as Scully and Joshua Ludman of BRE dropped to the front, working very, very hard to bring it back. But at the moment it's that smaller group of riders, Jonas Walton of Hot Tubes, Lucas Jowett of Backstead, and Angus Stoneham, the rider that came across. They'll be given that gap. And they're pushing on here at Bellbridge House. You can see in the distance the field as the riders sweep left, and it's Walton putting on most of the pressure. Rider 62 is Angus Stoneham of Lee Valley Youth Club. So magnificent drone shot here of the 3 riders as they cross the bridge at Anna. We've got Angus Stoneham, Lee Valley Youth Club at the back of the formation here. But you can see the riders beginning to come through as well. Jonas Walton of Hot Tubes allowing the riders come through. Lucas Jowett there as well. And looks as if there's an attack, one of the Orwell riders from the peloton as they cross over the bridge there. But once again, 3 riders at the front here as they sweep through the right hand side. And again, such magnificent pictures here. The peloton sweeping right along the coastline, and those 3 riders pressing on as they bank left with the peloton. Certainly the case at the moment that that gap will be going out. Not much of a chase. You can see Hot Tubes represented here in second place at the head of affairs. They're not going to ride through. The 3 riders slipstreaming or drafting off one another here as they bank right and in towards Lahinch at this stage. And you can see others out enjoying a round of golf. Sweeping over the right hand side here at the head of affairs, you can see it's Lucas Jowett of Backstead Racing right at the front. Angus Stoneham in second place, and in third place that Hot Tubes rider of Jonas Walton, very much marking it. We saw one of his colleagues yesterday, AJ, he was off the front for quite a while, joined by one of the VC Londra riders, but allowing one another just enough of a gap here as they sweep through left, right here. Lead car pulled in, and a bit of traffic for the riders here on Garda Síochána trying to marshal the riders through here. Thankfully they're clear, and the riders been given bottles from the neutral service cars. It may be the case if the gap is over a minute, the respective team cars will be allowed to make their way up to the 3 leaders, but on these tight and narrow roads that may be quite a difficult thing to do. Beautiful pictures here of the cliffs of Moher. What spectacular shots. Once again, the riders, they'll not be too interested in this stage at the moment. The 3 riders ascending And they're going to have to keep working together, these three. Maintaining the pace. And now descending. And the gap notified to the riders here gone out to 2.5 minutes. And indeed, it's Walton of Hot Tubes at the head of affairs here as the riders sweep down to the right-hand side. Angus Stoneman at the rear of the field here as we see an attack from the yellow jersey, no less. And that's the winner from yesterday. Tom Patterson is in pursuit at the head. The peloton trying desperately to get onto his wheel. You can see one of the Hot Tube riders there on his wheel in second place. And it's a real sprint to get onto those wheels. You can see some of the Irish team riders as well. Riders trying to close gaps desperately here. The three riders still out in the front. And the pressure put on here at the front of the field again by Lucas Jowett of Backstead Racing. And the riders as they come through, we can see Alex Franks coming through, Joseph Wilson of Foremost, and also Hugh Buck-Jones of Backstead Racing. So two riders from Foremost, they'll be looking to get up to the head of affairs as quickly as possible. But once again, that is neutralised. And now the three leaders going through Kilfenora as they sweep left. Riders working very, very well. And again, attacks. It looks as if it may well be Andrew August at the head of affairs here from Hot Tube's team. Meanwhile, up front, we can see the riders here piling the pressure on here. And this is Jonas Walton of Hot Tubes in second place. But coming in for the sprint finish here, and it's all going to come down to the line here. It's going to be Lucas Jowett of Backstead Racing and Jonas Walton in second place from Hot Tubes. Third place is going to be Andrew August. We saw him off the front of the field yesterday. He's from Hot Tubes. In a fourth place, Matty Dodd of Backstead Racing. And now for the peloton, they wind it up again. Hot Tubes at the front of affairs. Coming in fifth is Joseph Wilson from Foremost. Angus Stoneham, great ride from himself today of Lee Valley Youth Club. And in seventh place, Joshua Ludman of BRE. So confirming the winner today, Lucas Jowett of Backstead Racing.
Yeah, it was close to the end when it got down to like 15 seconds, and then one of the lads dropped off, and then I carried on pressing it on because I thought I could see my three teammates and like the smaller bunch behind blocking, and then we just carried on pressing on. The guy from America, he managed to stay on, and then we just the gap kept getting bigger till like 5k to go, and then it slowly started coming down again, but we managed to just hold on at the end.
It was just incredibly hard after being in the breakaway for so long and all the work you do the entire day. You always try to, in training, you always sprint with all the energy you got, but in races that's just not the case, and it's all you can give.
So you were involved in an early breakaway, wasn't it? And it was a very long breakaway. I timed it somewhere like 4 or 5 minutes ahead of the main bunch earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the splits, we didn't have too many splits to know where we were at, but I know the furthest we heard was about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And once we heard that, we knew we had to push on until the finish, and we heard 15 seconds, and I think one of the guys decided enough was enough after being in the breakaway for so long and headed back. But then when it was just down to us two, the 15 seconds turned into 20, and then 25, and then 30, and then they started catching us by the end again, but it was enough to stay away.
A good win for Lucas Jowett of Backstead, edging out Jonas Walton into second, whose Hot Tubes teammate Andrew August moves into third position. So a new yellow jersey, Lucas Jowett's 10-second time bonus for winning, seeing him 4 seconds ahead of Walton, with August third 26 seconds behind. Stage 3 covering 94 kilometres, taking in West Clare, finishing in Kilkee.
Stage 3 is the West Clare stage, taking the riders from Ennis to Kilkee, a distance of 94 kilometres. Another beautiful day off the coast here for Stage 3 of the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. The peloton rolling out, pretty much controlled until an attack by Sam Maloney of Tarrant Skoda Munster, that team managed by Dan Curtin. And you can see his teammates marshalling at the head of affairs here. Some of the Irish riders also there. Conor Scully of the Team Irish team managed by Martin O'Loughlin. And for a short while, Sam Maloney was out off the front. Soon he was joined by Alfie Salmon of Foremost and also his teammate Alex Frank of Foremost. You can see those riders working up and over. That's Alfie Salmon from Foremost, rider number 56. And then also rider 52. That's Alex Frank of the Foremost team. Again, you can see Sam Maloney pressing on here. He's just off the front of these riders here, showing great strength. And this is a long shot near Milton Malbay. And at this stage, Maloney holding a short gap, about 2 to 3 seconds or so, with the peloton not too far behind at this stage, maybe 25 seconds or so. You can see the riders just glimpsing around the right hand shoulder here. And at this stage, the peloton led by Hot Tubes towards the front of the bunch. Unfortunately, news coming through today that they've lost second placer on general classification. That's Jonas Walton and also Graham Weaver. Very active early on in stage 1 and 2. So reduced numbers for the peloton certainly opens up more opportunity for many of the riders here. You can see the field well spread out. The yellow jersey, of course, denotes the rider with the least time on general classification. The motor marshals making the way up the right hand side of the road to clear for those leaders. Now the 3 riders all together now: Sam Maloney of Tarrant Skoda Munster, Alfie Salmon of Foremost, and also on that team Alex Franks of Foremost as they go through Ballinacally. Maloney on the front as he flicks the right elbow to ask the next rider to come through, and into Kildysart, and the peloton winding their way through the town. At this stage, the leaders have a gap of 1 minute and 55 seconds. Hot Tubes sitting comfortably in second place there, marshalling anything going off the front. The 3 leaders are out once more by the coast, and you can see by the effort the riders are putting in here, they want that lead to stay out. If they can hold that 2 minute gap, that will bring each one of these riders into contention on the general classification. The leaders turning right through Lavashida on the right hand side. Just small efforts off the front here, but you can see the yellow jersey controlling everything. He pulls over to the left hand side of the road, looks to his right, just checking to see nobody's making any moves off the front. The Irish team marshalling towards the head of affairs there. And beautiful fauna here on the coast of Clare. Take your choice, Kildysart or where next. Again, the riders working well. That gap at 2 minutes. The Nutra service car feeding the riders bottles here. The peloton sweeping left. That's the Irish team up. Orwell Pinnage there also. The yellow jersey sitting right in the middle of the field here. Not too concerned with those riders up the road. Kilrush 13 kilometres away at this stage. Great to see these riders working up and over again. Sam Maloney, who's been very strong. Remember, it's Maloney that started this group right from the gun earlier on. It was the 2 riders of Franks and Salmon got across to him later on. The gap is down to 1 minute now as the leaders enter Kilrush. They're moving swiftly through the town. The roads have been cleared here by An Garda Síochána Traffic Corps, also the traffic marshals working the way, rolling road closures here for the riders as they sweep right around the roundabout here. They'll be looking for as many time gaps as they can get on the chasing field. It's a right and a left. Remember, no earpieces for these riders, so they're simply following the Garda Síochána bike that's out the front of the field. The race director Alice Sherrod is up ahead, and the peloton chasing very hard here as well. I think it's Andrew August is the rider from Hot Tubes at the head of affairs as they pass over the bridge here. Yellow jersey now has moved up into contention as well, perhaps concerned that the GC riders might have too much of a gap. Rhino Shoot of Halson moving up alongside Andrew August, and the 3 riders here up ahead. The gap at one stage was nearly 2 minutes. It's reduced to 1 minute now as they sweep left at St. Flannan's Church, led by Matty Dodd of Bagstead. The peloton coming from behind now. Yellow jersey up at the head of affairs, sitting in the top 7 or 8 riders or so. In the field, 94 riders, remember, started stage 1. That was reduced through a couple of unfortunate crashes towards the end of stage 1. Cycling Leinster with the team here. Munster, of course, with 2 teams in front, but it's the Irish team seem to be coming across here, powering through. The yellow jersey right behind. One of the motor marshals moving their way through here. Now the riders will be disappointed to have been caught, but they're still going to try and stay up in GC classification. Again, magnificent shots here as we pass through the coast. And the Hot Tubes riders really at the head of affairs here. They'll try and make it good for a sprint finish. Tom Patterson was that took that first stage. Aerial footage here, you can see the peloton is all together. Those riders looking to compete for the sprint finish, well, they'll be brought up by their teammates, marshalled up, protected as much as they can. The yellow jersey sitting back at about 30th or 40th position, so maybe satisfied that the GC is exactly where he wants it. A slight rise in the roads there, lots of movement at the front, ready for the finish here. Kilkee.
We love the race. Up the banner. Up the banner.
Supporters brace themselves for the finish here. It's all set for a sprint finish. Indeed, Hot Tubes at the front of affairs here. It's going to come down to a sprint finish. Will it be Bagstead or Zwift or Hincapie riders as well? Indeed, one of the Irish riders, Gilson, is up there in 4th place or so as they sweep around the left-hand bend. The sprint is taken by Ben Askey of Bagstead, Sean Strachan of Zwift in 2nd. 3rd goes to O'Reilly Oberding of Hincapie, and Adam Gilson of Ireland in 4th place. Yellow jersey seems to be satisfied with that stage result.
Yeah, so good. From the start, it was just protecting Lucas in yellow, and we were just rolling through, trying to keep the early break at light just not too far away, so we knew it would catch near the end of the stage because the pace would increase. And then I had Matty, who just kept me at the front all the way until the end, so kept me in a good position, so I had a good position for the sprint, and yeah, got the win.
So the Ireland team were attacking you today as well?
Yeah. A lot of teams were attacking. I think a lot of people wanted to nip off the front and try and get some time today, and we were hoping we could control it for Lucas to stay in yellow and for me for the sprint, so yeah, worked out perfect.
A break went pretty early, like near enough straight away of 3, and then they got like 2 minutes, and then we kind of held it at 2 minutes, and then around 50k we slowly started bringing it back down, especially myself, Matty from the team, Hugh and Ben. And Ben got a stage win, which was a bonus at the end. But then the rest of the stage, when we got them back, it was quite, especially Ireland, they were just throwing attacks, so we were just constantly trying to jump on them. And then we managed to have no one away by the by the bottom of the final climb. And then it's pretty hard up there, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, the climb. And then we got over there safely, then I just stayed safe on the descent, and teammate Ben obviously went a bit faster and won the stage.
A good sprint victory for Ben Askey of Bagstead, ahead of Strachan, Oberding and Gilsonen. Lucas Stourt's lead is now 20 seconds over Andrew August. Jonas Walton drops from 2nd, having not started the stage due to illness. 3 of the top 4 now from Bagstead. Stage 4 is the East Clare stage, 87 kilometres, with Barefield providing the finish again.
Stage 4 taking the riders from Ennis to Barefield, starting at the Clare County Council headquarters here in Ennis. The Chief Executive, Pat Dowling, is pictured with the riders here right before the stage kicks off. It's stage 4 of the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. And at our first images here at Bowdyke, we've already got a 3-man breakaway rider. Julian Roux of the Hincapie team, Joost Stokkermans of the Tempo Opperbrouwers team from the Netherlands, and also Jacques Marais. The 3 riders working very, very well together. Quickly caught by a chasing pack led by Travis Harkness of the Ulster team. Sam Bulger of the Tarrant Skoda Munster team. Adam Gilson is there as well, rider number 3. And Angus Stoneham. Remember Stoneham from stages 1, 2. He was involved in stage 3 as well. That's the rider from Lee Valley Youth Club. behind them. The Irish team are to the fore here. Lovely to see Orwell Pinergy riders represented here as well as riders approach Tuam Graney. We've got 3 leaders at this stage. Gillislin, that's rider number 3. Matthew Amara from Zwift. And Rory Byrne of Pinergy Orwell, that's rider number 99, going through Tuam Graney. As they just come up the ascent here, remember, throughout the course of the day, many mountain preems as well, the riders been asked to slow down as they sweep left. The Moher Marshal's doing an excellent job here, slowing down the traffic for these rolling road closures. And as Gilson looks over his left shoulder to make sure everybody is coming through. Peloton behind them, going to... And with the speed up in the peloton, the yellow jersey comfortably tucked in the top 20 there. Riders sweeping left, trying to stay off the brakes, trying not to slow down. And once again we can see riders attacking off the front here, and it's Andrew August of Hot Tubes, known as AJ, to his teammates Joe Brooks of the Hales Owen Academy Map 8 team, looking to break away. And there appears to be a little bit of a stall behind. Indeed, now it's Andrew August and Joe Brooks have a bit of a gap on the peloton. Let's see, is there a reaction from behind? You can see the power that August is putting down here. He retains one of the leaders' jerseys here. Remember, the jerseys include the yellow jersey for GC. We also have the points jersey, the King of the Mountains jersey, and also first and second year jerseys as well. Rider 63 talking to the cameraman there is Joseph Wilson of Foremost. He's with Oliver Neely of Team Swift, and they're chasing the peloton. Well, they seem to be relaxed at this stage here. The yellow jersey again sitting in 10 or 15 riders down as the riders sweep right at Pepper's Bar in Fecal. They may well come together. You can see the green and yellow jerseys here at the head of the peloton, and as they turn the 1 minute and 10 seconds down, that will be communicated to Andrew August and Joe Brooks up here. It's August that takes the King of the Hills, and these beautiful horses here, well, they're enjoying what they can. Cattle here, it's break time for themselves up ahead. Well, August is talking to Brooks, and they're taking time up and over themselves. Working very, very well on this descent here. The peloton, meanwhile, they're chasing after them. And remember, August has been up stage 1. We saw him try to break away. He was reeled in, just approaching the finish of stage 1. And he's been on the attack ever since. So I think certainly a rider to watch for the general classification. Rider number 4 coming through at the back of affairs there is Liam O'Brien of the Irish team. Riders sweeping right, just overshooting it a little bit there was Joe Brooks. He's very quickly recovered back into the head of affairs, and the peloton making moves. It's the green jersey of Braden Block. That's the rider of the BRE South African team. The Pinergy Orwell riders talking to one another. Rider 58 is Lucas Jowett. He's in the yellow jersey. And these two riders moving very, very well together at this time. As they sweep left, the neutral service car behind them, and also the team cars. The yellow jersey up once more at the head, trying to protect his position. August was only 20 seconds down. August, that's Andrew August, AJ to his teammates, only 20 seconds down on GC going into this stage, and he now has the virtual lead, and it's August is leading it out, and he's set to take the stage. Indeed he does, from Joe Brooks of the Hales Owen Academy Map 8. The peloton a minute behind, and third place going to Wout Ure of the Tempo Hop and Browse team. Fourth place to Darren Parnham of Hot Tubes. The new yellow jersey at the end of this stage is Andrew AJ August of Hot Tubes.
I mean, I knew I needed to do something today, a hard stage, so I took off on the first climb, and I thought it was a little bit too early, but I was able to hold on to it.
And you were supporting him?
Yeah, I was just keeping the field as neutral as I could, making sure nothing got up to him, making sure, I could neutralize as much as we could and keep him up the road. Yeah.
So you came in that sprint finish there. What were you thinking about 100 metres to go?
Yeah, I mean, my breakaway compatriot told me he'd let me have it, so I just rolled through kind of, but yeah.
What's the tactics for tomorrow now? Just now you got a very long stage now from Ballyvaughan back to Ballyvaughan up through Corkscrew Hill, etc. You're going to have to really work as a team.
Yeah, of course. Really just defend as much as we can, and if anything goes, he's in it. So.
Yeah, probably the hardest stage tomorrow, so yeah, it's going to be tough to defend, but I think we have a strong team to do it.
Yeah, yesterday I had a lot of bad luck. My chain broke on the last 50 meters, so today I had to get revenge.
It's been a hard race because I know there's just two of you here from Holland, but you teamed up well today.
Yeah, and we are big guys, so in the mountains we have to put some gear, some speed up. But yeah, it's nice. We are in a beautiful country, a beautiful road, so I'm very happy.
A significant move for Andrew August. He and Joe Brooks ending up 47 seconds clear of the rest. Wout Jora claiming the peloton sprint. August's 10-second time bonus handing him 57 seconds on everyone else. And suddenly he leads going into the yellow jersey by 27 seconds over Brooks. Jarrett down to third. Stage 5 starting and ending in Ballyvaughan. No Gallows Hill this year, but Corkscrew Hill and Castle Hill still very much involved.
So stage 5 begins and ends in Ballyvaughan on the north coast of Clare as the riders get ready for this very, very special stage indeed. Remember, after yesterday's stage win by Andrew August of Hot Tubes, he moves into the yellow jersey as the riders roll out under the neutralised flag. Irish riders at the head as well. Expect plenty of action from the riders here, but defending and working to set the pace for Andrew August is Ben Stokes of Hot Tubes. Andrew August sitting comfortably in second place. What a day he had yesterday. A great stage win for himself. And straight away he's back nearly into defence mode. A quick break by Ben McConney of Hincapie. But that break is quickly neutralised, and at the King of the Hills at Carron, first goes to Conall Scully of the Irish team, Travis Harkness of Ulster in second, Liam O'Brien of Ireland in third, and Ben Askey of Backstead in fourth place. Immediately there's an attack from Liam O'Brien of the Irish team, big, strong, powerful rider. The Irish team, remember, they lost two riders after that crash towards the end of stage 1, with Quillan Donnelly and Oisin Ferrety having to leave the race amongst many, many others. And now it's the turn of the Ulster team. It's Travis Harkness of Ulster, who was second in that King of the Hills at Carron, breaking clear to go in front and ahead. And beautiful images here of Corkscrew Hill. Harness at the front with a slight lead over the main bunch, about 200 metres or so. But with these turns, they've no idea as to exactly how far he is ahead. We can see Matty Dodd of Backstead moving at the front of the peloton here. And right now, Harkness of Ulster has an opportunity to look left and see exactly what that gap is. He's not going to take the pressure off, however. The yellow jersey, August, sitting in about 6th place or so here. The Irish riders content at the front as Matty Dodd of Backstead Racing once again at the head here. And there has been a split in the field here. You can see the lethargic legs for the riders at this stage of the race. Alex Franks of Foremost, he is the new leader on the stage at the moment. But the peloton in behind, they'll be working very, very hard. Matty Dodd of Backstead once more. Now two riders have broken away. And it looks once again another one of the Foremost riders, Alex Franks and Braden Block of the BRE South African team. Significant now as both are within 90 seconds of the yellow jersey and GC, and it's really going to be down to Andrew August and his team from Hot Tubes to lead that chase. At the time here, they seem comfortable enough with the pace as team helpers hand out bottles here. The peloton chasing behind. Yellow jersey well up, and no better vantage point here indeed. So rope climbing taking place. Castle Hill is waiting for the riders. Alex Franks of Foremost and Braden Block of BRE. Now in the ascent of Castle Hill, they'll be working their way through the gears Certainly they won't be on the front ring. And a little bit of a gap at the moment. Braden Block opens up a slight gap, 5-10 metres. The farming community get on with it on a beautiful day such as today. Braden Block was 1 minute 16 behind in 11th place, and Alex Franks was 1 minute 30 behind GC leader. This morning you can see the field here winding their way up. The Irish riders at the head of affairs as expected. Again, slight gaps appearing here, maybe 15 riders at the head. Other riders expecting others to do the chasing work. But up ahead, a big descent now from Alex Franks of foremost. At the head of affairs, Braden Block of BRE in second place, and right behind us your yellow jersey Andrew August of Hot Tubes.
40 seconds.
Looking for others to do the work. It's Woest of the Tempo Open Brouwers team leading the riders now. Rory Byrne of Penergy Orwell, Liam O'Brien, he was in the action earlier on today. Both are now clear, and we can see the head of affairs still, Matty Dodd of Backstead, mouth wide open, trying to get in as much air into those lungs as he can. The yellow jersey Andrew August from Hot Tubes is having to do a lot of work, but there's an attack behind Rory Byrne of Penergy Orwell, and Liam O'Brien of the Irish team have broken clear, but they're not going to be successful. It's Matty Dodd of Backstead, and in the sprint for second place, Ben Askey takes that second place ahead of Tom Patterson of Halezone Mappe, and third place Adam Gillison of the Irish team.
I think it was about 5k before the end, so Ben Askey attacked and sort of, I think AJ chased that, and then when it came back I went on the right hand side and got a gap and held it.
Nice feeling coming in like that?
Yeah, it was good. I think I ended up celebrating 100 minutes too early.
You were celebrating early, yeah.
Yeah, but so that was a bit embarrassing. Hopefully I haven't caught that on camera, but oh well, yeah, good to win anyway.
Matty Dodd winning the Queen stage of the competition, 5 seconds ahead of the main bunch, with Askey and Patterson to the fore again. A 37-second lead now for August over Jowett with one stage to go. The top 5 consisting of all 5 stage winners.
Stage 6 of the Junior Tour in Ennis, County Clare is about to kick off. It's a circuit race. The yellow jersey will have to defend because there's only 37 seconds to second place. It's all to play for.
Stage 6 is the Ennis circuit race. It's a 79-kilometre final stage and the traditional circuit race, but with a changed finish location this time. 76 riders starting this final stage. As the riders roll out of Ennis, it's Andrew August of Hot Tubes looking confident in yellow. Ben Askey is in green. Riders spread right across the road with all of these supporting cars. Early action with the yellow jersey sitting in second place. Remember, any one of these 76 riders will be hoping to take this stage 6, the final stage of the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. Many of the academy teams represented here, with Munster, Ulster and indeed Leinster represented as well. Alfie Salmon from foremost making an early move to go out ahead of the field here. And I expect some sprightly legs. They're not going to allow one rider out on their own. Indeed, rider 101 coming across is Shane McKay of Penergy Orwell, son of Les, a former Irish international rider. And how well does he look on the bike? A big attack afterwards is Alfie Salmon of foremost. And also rider 29 coming across is Jamie Moss of the Ulster team. You can see the effort that he's putting in there, shoulders moving left and right as well as he looks to get across to McKay, as well as rider 56 Alfie Salmon. He goes straight through to the front here, so the 3 riders off the front of the field at the moment, cheered on by supporters at the side of the field, but it's the Hot Tubes team controlling the speed at the front of the bunch here. And I expect something from the Irish team as well today. But at the moment, 3 riders making a good effort here. McKay, tall, strong rider here as they punch up towards the finishing circuit here at the end of stage 6. But the riders have to complete a number of laps ahead of that. Riders well strung out. And that tells us that the speed is right up there in the field at the moment. Somewhat neutralised by 20 seconds or so at the head. It looks as if it's an attack from the Swift rider Oliver Neely having a go off the front of the field there. Again, you can see the same style for all the riders onto the hoods, but the 3 riders up the front about to be neutralised, I imagine. Indeed they are. You can see Ben Askey there in the green jersey, rider 101 McKay, after that valiant effort, and certainly a rider to watch in towards the finish here, Ben Askey. It's now himself. Askey is at the head of affairs. McKay happy to sit in second place, and now that group: Jamie Moss, rider 29 of Ulster, Alfie Salmon foremost, McKay of Pinergy Orwell, and the gap at about 25 seconds or so, but it looks as if Salmon is beginning to fall off the back. And indeed a hard time here for rider 29 is Jamie Moss of Ulster. The riders neutralised, they sit up, and time for another rider to attack, perhaps on the right hand side. Hot Tubes coming to the front. Pinergy Orwell represented, rider 99 is Rory Byrne. Once again we saw him at the head yesterday. Chad Boyer of the Velo Sport team, now their turn off the front of the field. But a powerful attack here. Colin Scully, I beg your pardon, of the Ireland team shoots past them both here. He's on the hoods. He's committed at this stage. The gap is over 50 metres. He'll check once or twice over his shoulder, and then he will commit. He will look forward, not worry about any moves from behind, because it's all in at this stage for Conal Scully of the Irish team, as he sweeps left up another drag at the back of the circuit here. Quite a testing circuit here at Ennis. The riders who've ridden it here before will know it well. Paddy Moss stewarding at the corner here. Conal sweeps left just at the end of that finishing circuit, and the finishing crowd await here at the end of stage 6. Conal Scully still the gap at about 20 seconds or so at this stage. And you can see many attacks from other riders here. Rory Byrne, perhaps the rider for Pinergy Orwell, coming through. The Ulster Academy riders represented here as well. But it's Andrew August in the yellow jersey of the general classification leader here, controlling the tempo. And he seems happy as that gap to Conal Scully of the Irish team has been reeled in. The Irish riders policing here, but Conal Scully through the end of lap 5 here. One more lap perhaps for these riders here. He will hear the bell at the top of the hill here, but a big effort from Scully here. He's out on his own. He had a gap at one stage of over 40 seconds. But now the yellow jersey in the distance here. The Irish team support, handing out bottles for the riders here. No opportunity for the team cars. Remember, if that gap is less than 1 minute, the team cars cannot go forward. And it's an attack again off the front here. Foremost team of Alex Franks and Joseph Wilson taking control. Now it's going to take a lot of work from these two riders to work up and over on this final lap here if they're to stay away. Andrew August at the head of affairs here. A bit of indecision towards the back. But Askey, it's Ben Askey here. He's attacked running in towards the finish, the backstep rider. He's going to take the stage. Indeed, he wins stage 6. It was Matty Dodd of Backstead in 3rd place, Sean Strachan of Zwift in 4th, and Adam Gilson of the Irish team in 5th place. Our new champion of the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022 from Hot Tubes is Andrew August. So the Team Swift riders very happy with those performances during the Junior Tour of Ireland, and you can see the effort that is taken out of many of the riders. Ben Askey takes stage 6 of the Junior Tour of Ireland.
I was in second at the top of the first kick, and I looked behind, there was a little gap, and I just went all out to the finish. And well.
Tell me, the yellow jersey, AJ riding in yellow, must have helped a little bit. He was trying to control things.
Yeah, definitely. The whole Hot Tubes team were chasing down lots of attacks, so meant I could sit in and recover a bit more. So yeah, had more legs for the sprint, I guess.
Congratulations, taking the stage win. What's for the rest of the season?
Next up for me, I've got the British Mountain Bike Champs next week, and then just some road races in Belgium throughout the rest of the season. So looking forward to it, yeah.
It was definitely tough. Backstead was throwing all they had at us, but yeah, we were able to manage it pretty well.
Not easy when they've got 2nd, 3rd and 4th overall, I imagine.
Nah, yeah, we had to watch all their guys, not one really that we couldn't let go. So yeah, it was tough just following them all day, but we did good.
You join an elite group of riders. Bennett, Dunbar, Geraint Thomas have all won this race. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's definitely feels really good to be in such a group of prestigious winners. My director Toby always says that, and now it just feels really good to win this race.
A second stage win for Ben Askey coming on the final day, ahead of Yor, Dodd and Sean Strachan. Andrew August's overall winning margin is 37 seconds. Jowett, Dodd, Askey and Patterson all performing excellently, along with all the finishes. August also the white jersey winner for leading young rider. He's eligible again next year. Ben Askey taking the green jersey for Backstead by a margin of 7 points. Connor Scully of Ireland, the king of the mountains. Backstead the top team, just ahead of Foremost, and Ireland in third. So Andrew August taking the overall yellow jersey, a magnificent competition for him. He also takes the white jersey, leading young rider. Ben Askey in green after a great week, along with his stage win. Connor Scully didn't take a stage, he the king of the mountains. And what a week for Backstead. They're the top team. Hot Tubes, who win this quite regularly, only with 2 finishes in the end.
That's it. It's a wrap from us at the Junior Tour of Ireland 2022. We'll see you next year.